Um, okay. Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's founder's opinion. And today we have a very interesting person here to, give us his opinion, share important, information with us. And so today we'll be speaking with OT. I'll give him the privilege to introduce himself, but is the CEO of Wajusoft and is a pretty successful dev shop based in California, right? So I would like to just give a little about our guests, right? He's a founder and software engineer with experience in building full stack web and mobile application. Um, Wajusoft was founded in the wake of the pandemic and built to become a modern, well sought after engineering as a service company focused on building performance, and business driven solutions. So I'm just going to, pass the mic now to our speaker to introduce himself. I'm just going to bring him on stage now. Welcome once again, everyone. So, hi, OT. Are you here?
Hi, Jumake, how's it going?
Hi, so I'll just drop the mic so that you can give like an introduction, introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and we'll just get started.
Awesome. I think you actually introduced me well. Like, there's nothing else for me to say. My name is Uti, everyone. Nice to be here. I'm CEO and founder of Wajusoft. We're a talent company based in Cali. I'm a software engineer. That's it. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you very much, Uti.
Awesome.
Before we go, yes, before we go in, I also have innocent somebody here, so I'm just going to bring him up on stage so that he can also tell us a bit more.
Hola.
So hi, Saint. Good afternoon.
I was thinking for some reason I just slipped into that's weird gray area where the show just continue and just like sneak away, like just moonwalk back the door and then close it and go watch from the back. So good to connect with you again, Uti. I think we're already way out of time, so we'll just jump right into it. So today we're going to
Yes.
just be talking through like your journey, what you learned, and especially with respect to what we can learn, right? Entrepreneurs, founders, engineers, everyone who's looking to go on this path. You've done this not just in one country. The country is based off California, but you have people working for you around the world. You have clients around the world, and you travel more than you stay in one place. I can attest to that. So I think we're going to be having a very random conversation today, but we have only 20 minutes. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So let's go back to the beginning, right? The time when,
Mm.
okay, not the beginning, just a few years ago when, like, you were an engineer. At what point did you decide, yeah, you wanted to take this plunge? Because I suspect, like, you didn't just wake up and do it as something. So, yeah, what was it?
Interesting. It's good to see you again, Saint. FYI, Saint and I used to be colleagues at Andela. Yeah. Um, yeah, you're correct. I didn't start thinking I would run a business or a company. That was not my goal. I accidentally started it. So the first thing I knew was um, I got I got into software thinking of it as being an artsman or a craftsman, wanting to build
Yeah.
scalable solutions for people, for clients, and products basically. So I take it personal when my code doesn't work, not because I don't know that bugs happen, but I'm like, that's one sale the company would have lost or something. So I'm always, the work is personal to me. So I've always had that mindset, and I'm always like business driven. So I didn't realize that, oh, I'm actually, savvy business wise. So when I mean business driven is I'm writing software and I'm thinking, how does this impact the business? Does this make sense? Yes, this is not best practice, but would it help the business? I'm going for what the business wants, not practice. Excuse me. So that's how it started. So I got opportunities to work on side gigs, and while working on these side gigs, almost every engineer works on side gigs, maybe over the weekend or your free time. Some are paid, some are not paid, some might be open source. Almost every engineer, and I will encourage every engineer to be a part of that, at least open source. So I worked on this side gigs, and I remember the first one was some company based off in Dubai who had a bad experience with a dev shop. Um, they were basically scammed out of, their ideas. They were not given the source code, and they were promised what they didn't do. And they charged them over 40K dollars, forty thousand
Damn.
dollars. Yeah, for it's a reward system, but there was nothing rewarding about that system. So um, we came on board, and this was something we were doing like informally, like over the weekend. It's not like it's a day-to-day stuff. So we were never putting as much effort, in it. So I organized some of our friends who I knew that were strong developers, and so we worked on it. We released it in about 3 to 4 months, and for half of the price. It wasn't even up to that. So, and we were happy. Like we saved their business basically. So the same thing happened when I relocated to the US. I came across. I'm trying to remember the app now. It's called Stopper. It's like a mobile app for plastic surgeons, for people who need uh, surgery, plastic surgery. A matching app for them. So think of Tinder meets plastic surgery. So it's a very interesting app. It made me know a lot about liposuction, BBLs, and rhinoplasty.
Pretty sure that knowledge is very useful right now.
Yeah, and this was before it became popular. I'm talking 2018,
Uh,
2019. Yes. So, and then again, it was still something I was just doing over the weekends. It wasn't something I
yeah.
was really big on, and
Mm,
big on in the sense that it wasn't my day-to-day job, right?
yeah.
So only when I was free. So and that happened again. This time, it was scammed for over $100,000 because the dev shop was based in the US. And now, not just scammed, it was, I would say, I will use the word scam because when you don't ship out what you're supposed to ship out as a
Yep.
developer, to me, you're scamming your client. So, for for all purposes, the least I would have expected them to use
Yeah.
was an application like React Native, but they end up using Ionic 2 or 3, something that couldn't scale. So that
Uh,
was poor choice of technology to use. So that really made the app was so buggy. So we had to rebuild it for them, of course, for a fraction of the amount. And from there, I'm like,
oh,
we are
wait,
solving
just
problems for
yeah.
people.
Don't just gloss over that. I want to reiterate what just happened. So we have people who went to devs in Dubai and and in Dubai and in so we have people who went to people in Dubai and in the US and they couldn't get this done. And then they came to devs in Africa. And not only did you kill it, you ended up earning those people as clients or as seeds to what would become Wajusofts. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. So the interesting
Okay,
part
because there's
is,
a so for for context, there's this larger conversation that just happened not too long ago where I did that. Our friend Bamajide started this thing about average Nigerian dev
oh yeah, yeah, I
being
saw
an
that. I
artisan
saw
because
that.
it's not been very good, and then somebody exactly. I'm like, are you kidding me? People like OT are killing it internationally. How dare you? But yeah, I digress. Let's go on.
Yeah, no, I understand Babajide's standpoint. and he has the right to his own views too. But I also know that we have fantastic developers in Africa, fantastic developers. Um, so yeah, to interesting part is these same clients that we worked with. So at this point, I resigned from Mandela because I had to take some time off. Um, so I started working with the clients full time. And after building the app and everything, he introduced me to another client. So the referral just started from there. So it became like, is it a network effect? So he just started introducing me. And at that point, I'm like, we're actually solving problems, we are bringing value to the table.
Real
So
problem.
I was not thinking, uh, maybe if I'll start a business, I need to build a product, I need to build something shiny,
Mhm,
maybe a
mhm.
fintech,
No,
maybe have my
I think you went
doorstep.
with the.
Can
No, I
you
was gonna
can you
say
hear
like
me?
I think you went with the best path possible. So you didn't even set out to start a product, to start a business, right? You
Yes,
were your own, and then the need came to you. So you pretty much
yes,
had the problem, you had the people who would pay for the problem, and then you started figuring out how to solve that problem, right?
yes,
I
and
think that's
yeah.
perfect. That's the perfect way to go. Yeah,
One
I
thing
think
I
that's
want to
just
add
absolutely
again
perfect. So
is
tell me, okay,
the I
no,
think
go
a
on.
lot of engineers think of building products and they don't necessarily need to overthink about it. So in my case, I was thinking, okay, if I thought I'm going to run a business, probably it's going to be a product. For the longest of time, I was thinking it's a product I'll build, only to realize that I don't actually need to build a product. Wajusoft is a product. We're providing services for people, right? That is a product. And when I see other businesses thrive and their products are doing okay, I'm doing okay. When their ARR increases, my ARR increases. So, which is what I actually love to do, seeing other businesses flourish. So, this is a product on itself, on its own. So, yeah,
I mean, it's
I just
service
wanted to add that.
based. But no, I think that's really important. The fact that a lot of people are stuck in this rift of trying to get this perfect thing out. All right. I have a friend who spent the last 3 years building an MVP. I saw the MVP 3 days ago. I'm like, this is not an MVP. This is like a version 4. Right? Your equivalent in Silicon Valley would have raised $4 million by now. On this. But yes, we are sometimes stuck in that rut, and that's what I would like to dig in my next question. Right, you made a decision, you took the plunge. How did how would you effect that mindset shifts? All right, there is we just talked about people just being in the build mode. I need to do this. I need to just write this stuff. If only I just deploy this particular header, just ship this particular feature. How did you go from that to the businessman that you are now?
So it's a tough shift, and it's still something I struggle with every day
Okay.
because I miss coding. It's
Okay.
something I love doing, so I don't code as much anymore. Um, I would say it came with demand. The more demand I got, the more I saw that, man, I need to focus on the business,
Mhm.
and allow yourself to grow and make mistakes. It's interesting that we have quite a number of clients. We have a a decent pool of engineers, but we just started rolling out our talent portal this year after
Mm.
being after being in business for over 2 years. So there was no need, so we didn't do it. Not that there was no need per se, but it wasn't just the right time.
It wasn't the
And there
top of the
were other things.
list.
It wasn't the top
Yeah.
of the list. So allow yourself to grow.
Mhm.
When it's time, you would know.
Right.
So then
Right.
I would say avoid being in that builder's mindset that you'd forget to sell. So
Mm.
sometimes you just want to build an arcade because you're an engineer. That's what is comfortable with you. this portal we are building, I've all the schema, the DD relations, I've done it like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, but
So,
how do you know? There's this. That like 2 3 years ago, there's the what was acceptable as an MVP has changed, right? There
yeah,
was a time where it's okay to just slap input button on a plain like HTML sheet, so long as it did the function it is. Now
yeah.
you see microsites that are like fully fledged, super designed, really
As
animated
MVP.
as MVP, right? So
Yeah, and thanks to
how do you
companies like
balance being
Wajusoft building this.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right. So how do you
Yeah.
balance like um having to ship something amazing that is of high quality versus having to just go ship?
You will know your MVP. Can it make you money? If it
Uh
can make you money, that's your
yeah,
MVP.
I think we should dig into that question. Like so there's a difference between something having a potential to making you money
Money.
and then actually making you money.
Making you
So
money. Yeah.
how about
So
you? Yeah.
don't forget to sell. I would say like selling is number one. If you're a founder or an engineer becoming a founder,
Yeah.
know that there's one skill you need to pick up. You need to
Yeah.
be
Sell.
relatable and social
Everybody
enough to
talks
be able to sell.
yeah, everybody talks about that a lot. Everyone sell, right? Sell first thing, always
Yeah.
be selling, right? There's literally a book, always be selling. But the question for you, or yourself, have you always been like a consummate salesman, or there was a time you had to go learn something? How was that for you? How
You
cool
learn
was
on the
sales?
job. You learn on the
No,
job. Yeah, but I mean, personality wise, I don't know which one I fall in, whether I'm introverted or extroverted. My own is I'm just cool. I like vibes. I like
okay.
once I enjoy the energy, I'm
Is
vibing with you.
she?
So,
Is she?
so that's my personality.
uh,
Nothing.
yeah,
So
they do vetted. What's that? What's that range?
So, so I'm the dude that can go for a rave. I'm the dude that can just stay in there. I'm the dude that can go to church and just be sober all day. I'm everything, versatile. So
Okay.
I think that also helps me relate with people too. But if you say, are you out there? You know how they've painted the typical salesman to be. I don't think I'm that. I'm just more genuine about my relationship.
Okay.
Um, so, because I genuinely love product and I love builders, I love people who are building and I want to help. You can't fake it. So, if you're telling me you're building something, I'm already thinking, how can I help you? Okay, what can I critique in a
Okay.
good way that would help your product?
So this is interesting because I think it's a very important point. So you don't focus on when you go, you don't focus on selling, right? You just focus
Yeah,
on
no,
solving
no.
this person's problem, right? Because I was
Hmm.
going to ask like how you successful. So you really don't go to sell to sell. You just go to see how
Yeah,
you can help, pretty much.
help.
And with
Yeah,
that
that
mindset,
should
the
be
engineer
what's
you
in it.
the
Yeah.
engineer in you then shines, right? Because as engineers,
Hmm.
we're like always focused on trying to solve problems. So you're not even trying to sell
Exactly.
like, oh, you're just trying to solve problem. And
Hmm.
get paid for it maybe. you
Maybe.
know.
I've gotten to the point where I don't even think of it anymore.
Okay.
So
Because
it's
naturally when
like
you add
second
value,
nature.
the money
It's
follows,
natural,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have founders who are like, oh, we can afford you guys right now, but once we raise, we'll reach out to you, and they will reach out, and
And
it
they
could
reach
be
out.
just one simple bug I found in their website or their app or something. I'm like, oh, have you thought about
Mm,
this, like this? And remember, the more you do this, you gain more experience because I've seen lots of products.
exactly. Yep.
So
Yeah.
I know
Well,
what
let's talk
you
about
work
let's
on
talk
what
about
I don't.
personal management, and maybe that leads to the conversation about
Hmm.
developers working 2 3 4 jobs, hampering their overall productivity. How has it been for you just managing talent? Was it something that came naturally, or did you have to do something to get better?
Um, I'll give kudos to Andela on this one for giving people like us a good foundation. Um,
Yeah.
then for me, I treat people how I want to be treated. It's the golden rule. So
Nice.
I won't say because we have a relationship, work like relationship, and I will impose certain thing on you. I actually encourage my engineers to contribute to open source. Use your free time to contribute to open source. Um, I have a problem now. Most of my engineers don't want to go on leave. They are not the ones that go on leave. They just want
Ah,
to work.
interesting.
so,
Interesting.
so yeah. So sometimes what
So are
we
you saying
do
you don't have this issue where you're the same issue that was
where they
like
double
where
dip.
you yes, when you double
I've
dip,
I've not
exactly.
had any complaints from any client
Oh,
saying
okay.
our engineers are not
Oh,
focused.
so you're
Not
saying
that they don't have
you just
issues.
don't care.
No, I think it's wrong if you're double dipping and it's affecting your main job. You can
Yeah,
do side gigs, and you should do them over the weekends,
yeah.
or when you're not
I
like
see.
after
So
work.
where your opining is that's what's going. Like you don't care about like what they do on their free time, so long as it
In their
doesn't
free time,
affect
yeah.
their main job,
Affect you,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
also you're like saying you should actually do something different on your side gig that might add to the skills that you then
yeah,
put into your
exactly.
main job.
Because
Right?
it
It's like
helps you too.
like sharpening the knife, right?
Exactly.
So where do you think the problem is? Where do you feel this disconnect is? Is it managers not being good enough, or is it people not managing their time enough and just being dishonest about it?
I won't blame the managers at all. I think it's developer, the engineers' responsibility to be honest with themselves where they are in their career. There are
Right.
some engineers that I know that are able to do multiple things. There are some that can just do one thing. So you need to know where
Mm,
you fall. And it's not always about the money. People should learn to chase value, like chase
right.
value more than money. So I follow, I don't know if you know Basecamp. I
DHH,
follow,
of course.
yeah, I follow, yeah,
The
I
father of
follow
Ruby on
their,
Rails, man. Of course.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
follow their
your blog.
philosophy on,
Yeah.
yeah, and on work ethic, and so far these are my concerns. So far it doesn't there's no legal conflict with your side gig or whatever you're doing after work hours. I don't care. So far you're doing it in a time that doesn't weekends, especially. It's a
Definitely.
lot of hours for engineers on weekends. Most of us don't do anything over the
Got it.
weekends. We're
Yeah.
just like this on the computer. So you can
Even
use that time to work on those things, right? Um, if you work on a project every weekend for the next 8 weeks, you can ship it out. Especially with
got it.
ChatGPT, probably half of that time, if you know what
Well,
you're doing.
I feel like this does really good justice because you're echoing my thoughts on this, right? As the employee, I don't care about so long as it doesn't affect your main job. I'll actually encourage that you do something that helps you pick up skills, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's I think that's you're very well aligned with me on that one.
Yeah,
Let's talk a bit about just raising. Again, this is the path from engineer to founder, right? Now, I've heard a lot of people like I've spoken to who would want to take that leap, but they have the products, but they are worried about like raising. They're worried about like the sustainability of bootstrapping, for instance. Like what would be if you were to do this again? How would you approach the subject of raising? And if somebody comes to you with an idea but just doesn't have the funds, what would you tell them?
mm. There's no two side that fits all in this case. You just need to know what will work for you. If I was to do this again, I think I'll still bootstrap. Um, we have companies like ours who have raised millions. I mean, our alma mater raised 381 million. So, and yeah, Andela has raised a total of
Yeah,
like
yeah. So
381, right?
far, yes,
So,
I agree.
yeah,
Very unique one.
but yeah, but the storyline is different for me. I don't see a need to raise right now. Um, We are open to grants, by the way, but raising, I don't think is something I'll consider right now. Maybe it might change in the nearest future. I don't know. Um, you ask something, a follow up.
Yeah, the
I
question
forgot
is
now.
like, why do you think that it's not? Why do you think it's not a problem for you? Why you're okay with Bishop? Why you would just rather not
But
raise? Why you chill?
it's not.
Yes.
It's not easy. It's not easy. Don't get me wrong. Um, it's just you want to know how bad you can also um see if it will work. So
Yeah.
um, I think most founders don't focus on selling that they just want to raise and they
Mm,
want to outsource that selling responsibility to someone else. We live in an
yeah.
era where it's a founder-led sales cycle. So if
Yeah.
you can't sell as a founder yourself, forget about it. So go and try to sell your products,
Yeah. So
especially if you from what
let's
I'm
know that
getting is
because
this person has
it
an
feels like
MVP,
everything
right?
comes back to sales, especially because we have just like 5 minutes. Oh, 4 minutes more really. So I want to dig a bit on that.
Mm.
What are some things that you would just recommend? Right, engineers do more, technical people do more, people who are behind their computers do more, introverted people do more to just get better at selling. Maybe without directly focused on selling, just some regular activities they can do to get better.
Look for how you're going to create value to your clients. If you're building a product, you definitely have, the ideal clients, right? Focus on giving them value. That doesn't mean you should make the products free. I don't believe in making your products free. Um, and also, if you don't want to go out, like just boss people on Twitter. Let Twitter be your best friend, Ask for opinions, ask for referrals. It doesn't hurt to ask. When you ask people for stuff, they'll be the worst they'll tell you is no, but you'll find out that you don't even get as much no's as you would think you would get because you had the courage to ask them. So just ask people and eventually get out of your shell. You're a founder. There's a reason why you want to be a founder. So go for conferences, go for anything in your industry that will help you. Rather than seeing everybody as a competitor, try to network with them. You can learn from them, and not everybody's a competitor. You can collaborate. So that's something I'm learning right now. So can collaborate.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just one last one for me before you can. I think you just touched on it. Like, how do you identify like people obviously to collaborate with? What do you look out for? Right, because there are people who are. I've spoken to somebody who wanted to do a practice speech. I wanted me to sign an NDA first, right, to practice a pitch. Right, so there are people that are that wary. I'm not putting down any people have had different experiences, right? So I don't know where that's coming from. I did not sign it. But I don't know where that's coming from. So I don't judge. Yeah, but how would you tell me to approach like just partnerships, collaboration, looking out for ideas, mentorship? How do you recommend people approach it?
I mean,
Or what would be your
the first
advice?
thing I would just say, look for people in your industry. So if you're building something in finance, you want to look for people in finance and get their opinion, their honest opinion. Chase them. They don't have your time, but chase
Okay,
them.
and then do what?
So
Just
and from there you will see, based on these conversations, you'll be like, oh, we have this API, we can leverage this and all that. You will find a path to collaborate. So go out and talk to people.
so just look for people with the common grounds and
Hmm.
start the conversation from the problem you're trying to solve.
Exactly. And always think
And
of
don't get worried
people,
about your
think of, don't get worried. Everybody has ideas. So, I mean, coming from someone who works with a lot of products, everybody has ideas, trust me. So,
yeah.
everybody thinks they're building the next thing. So I respect everybody's ideas. So yeah, I can't even count. I'm lost on idea count right now. So
Oh my god. I had an idea for very niche, a very, very niche. I thought nobody knew. I jotted it down, and the next week, my wife showed me an ad. It was the very same thing. done
Yep.
by some guy in
Collective
Rwanda.
consciousness. Yep. Yep.
All
Like,
right.
damn, we're still in these things now. All right, Jumoke, over to you. Thank you so much,
Oh,
OT. This has been great.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys for
Yes.
having me.
Thank you. This has been wonderful. So we do have a few. Okay, not a lot, but I'm going to bring this comment up on stage now, so that we can respond to the comment. So I have someone. Hi, Samani. Good afternoon. So it's Hermione says, I think I disagree with Oti on founders being good at sales. It's a plus if you have this skill, but never a necessity. You can hire sales managers to do that for you. So
I would like
I
to
can
answer that.
yes.
So um I understand Samani's point of view. So there are ways to go about it. The first way is get a co-founder who is good with sales, so you can leverage that co-founder's strength, right? Um, but what if you can't hire that sales manager yet? You're just the only founder, building this application. How do you sell? You have to be the one to sell it, right? So till you can hire someone who will do the sales manager for you, you need to learn how to sell. But I understand the point of view. Not everybody will agree on the same page, but I think this will be challenging if you're bootstrapping and you don't have
Let
any
me
money.
just I like to let me just weigh in on that. I think you have it. Like again, I agree with you on that, OT. And so when I'm going to say this as like a multiple time founder myself, um, there's a reason why people search for a person who's good at sales and a founder because there's a large point in your company's growth that you're going to have a large part of the vision. It's going to be residing in your head. And no matter how great you are, communicating that to a sales manager puts them at disadvantage because that there's going to be a gap in communication. There's also a gap in execution drive. No matter how much, unless right at the bat, right at the beginning, you have the funds to hire A-level salespeople, you're already at disadvantage, which is what OT talked about. The funds to hire really good salespeople is a lot at the beginning. So that already puts you at a really good disadvantage. And even at that, because as a manager, sorry, as the founder, you're always selling. You're selling the idea, you're selling the vision, you're selling the motivation to employees, you're selling the drive, you're selling to multiple people and not just the client. So I don't think there's a way you can avoid that one, unfortunately.
You have to sell.
All right. Thank you very much. Samani, I hope this answers your question. If you have any more questions or contributions, please you can type it in the chat box so we can respond to you. And yeah, so hi Emmanuel, just acknowledging the people that are here. There's Emmanuel is here. We have Christopher, we have DG. Thanks for joining in on this call. Right. So to wrap this all up, I just have a question, not a question, it's just what would you say to startup, should I say founders, like upcoming startups, what would you say to them? Like if you were to give them one advice, right? So what would it be? The ultimate advice.
Um, hmm. Two things comes to my mind. Face value and distribution. Just value distribution, chase those two things. I think you'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you very much once again, Uti. It's been
Yeah.
amazing having you here. I enjoyed the session. I learned so much and I'm actually glad you're here. Thanks for answering all our questions also.
Thank you for having me too.
Um yeah, and so it's a wrap. So and with that, I'll just say thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, bye, Uti. Oh yes, so Samani, I just saw your comment. You said sure. Thank you very much for contributing. And if you are a founder or you're a startup founder and you're looking for a community to, help support your startup's journey, the ETF community is very much available to you, and you can search ETF.community to get access to all the resources that we have, get access to startup founders that can also, help you grow in your startup, whatever area, whatever yeah, in your startup basically. I feel like I'm rambling, but yes. So thank you. Thanks everyone who also joined in. Big thumbs up to you all. So let's have an amazing day. And yeah, we've come to the end of today's founder's opinion. See you next week.